Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity on behalf of StarCastTV. Upper right hand corner, we have none other than Light starting as the teal Terran. Upper left hand corner, we have Snow starting as the yellow Protoss. This is going to be on Polypoid. Should be an exciting one. These two players, very, very entertaining. Light, I would say Snow is the best Protoss at the moment. I don't know that there's a lot of counter arguments to that. Snow just is he's the guy who is going the furthest oftentimes in ASL, giving other Terran the most trouble with his incredible Reaver play. And you have Light, who I almost feel like in replacement of Flash has become kind of the new leader of the meta, kind of stepped into that space and has been training a lot of guys out there, just doing incredible things in that regard. Really has innovated around the two racks play. I'm not sure what kind of influence he had around the Valkyrie meta that has been here, but he also is considered, I'm not going to say he's the #1 Terran right now, mostly because of recent ASL appearances and things like that, but I am going to say he is still absolutely top 5. 100% still top 5. This is on Polypoid. You guys should know it if you have not seen it in a while. Just in case, standard natural expansion, nearby high ground third, which makes it a little bit easier for Terran players, although walking up to get that mineral only can be a little bit of a challenge. But it is very possible for Terran to go for that 3 base max play, and Protoss needing to go all over the map. Interesting gateway placement here by Snow. I'm wondering if this is just to try to create a little bit of a delayed information play. So the SCV, he's seeding essentially the ramp, but potentially this will create, depending on the SCV path, might create a little bit of a delay as far as where the gateway gets spotting information. Assimilator warping in, Snow scouting bottom left-hand corner first, and it looks like we are probably going to see 1 Rax into expansion from Light, and I think he's maybe hoping to skip that initial Marine, but more than likely will end up producing that initial Marine because of the scouting pattern where he's just going to end up seeing Snow last. Cybernetic Tor warping in, single probe in gas, additional probes joining. Let's see if he dedicates the full 3, because I know there's some build orders these days where you have players just keeping the 2 probes in gas to get a little bit more minerals to effectively get some, yeah, it looks like that's what he's doing, to still get Dragoon range, but still end up with a little bit more resources to get that faster Nexus in play. First Zealot out. Looks like a movement across bonds as that probe was intersected with that SCV bottom right-hand corner, so Light should be able to see the Zealot incoming. He has built that preventative Marine, it looks like, but going for that command center, I might have built that command center beforehand. This is where I'm not skilled enough to know the timing. He's now going to try to block that probe away and has a decent front wall. Is marching out, yeah, not going to go up to the high edge just in case that Zealot was coming alongside. That probe, or sorry, that SCV getting scouting information, taking a lot of damage actually. Zealot going to march its way forward, a bunker about halfway finished. So this could be some interesting shenanigans along this edge. Is, yeah, that Zealot just kind of skipping that bunker positioning, but Snow doesn't like what he sees, and rather than just sacrificing a Zealot, is on the retreat. So especially with that 3rd Marine out, usually 3 Marines and any sort of SCV support can barrel through and do some damage. Now we have that Nexus getting dropped and that 3rd probe in gas. Cybernetic score range, though, not immediately being hit, so I think we're going to see a fast robotics facility. So skipping range to get that faster robo to transition right into that aggressive Reaver style that Snow is just absolutely known for, and that'll be very, very important against Light because his macro is incredible, absolutely incredible. Dragoon hunting down that SCV bottom left and really wants to make sure, I'm wondering if this scout was just to make sure that there wasn't a 3rd base grabbed rapidly. That was odd movement to the bottom left, maybe just to pull that Dragoon as far out of position as possible. We do see a 2 factory play from Light, and we'll see, so rather than just dropping the factory, getting that first Vulture out, 2nd factory dropped alongside. So definitely setting up to maybe go aggressive. Engineering bay along that edge as well, and I'm almost curious if we're going to see double machine shop out of this, just to get a lot of siege tanks out to help deal with that inevitable, very powerful Reaver style out of Snow. That's something that Snow just is phenomenal at. 3 o'clock base being checked, another SCV making its way out. This one doesn't have, is actually able to skirt along that Zealot vision. 2nd Dragoon is out. I don't know that it's going to be able to stop the scouting information. altogether, and that would be critical if that SCV can get inside the main. That Dragoon, able to see it now, working on some blockading. Probe making its way out, so Snow, I don't know if that's just to drop a pylon for counter scouting, and yeah, blocking with 3 probes, lost a little bit of mining time, but absolutely worth it. Robotic support bay up. First Reaver should be constructed, yeah, there. Right this second, but yeah, double machine shop. Now, I don't know if Light's going to push with this or if he just wants the more siege tanks out for the defensive play. I think it's more for the defensive play, but he can't just lift this barracks, unload these Marines, grab some SCVs, and go. Pushing this initial Dragoon off the front, engineering bay floating forward, sees that pylon to the 12 o'clock location. So in case there was a drop incoming, would have known about it. But you can see that defensive missile turret. So these are missile turrets constructed less so to defend against Dark Templar, but more so to deflect, try to mitigate the amount of turrets you need to deal with that Reaver play. Mines being researched. Two Vultures have been produced. So we got 1 siege tank, 2 Vultures. These Vultures able to sneak out, might be able to stop even Nexus grab, but that shuttle with 2 Zealots and a Reaver making their way forward. Front door blockade, observatory, and the shuttle spotted alongside, so he knows it's coming. 2 more Vultures sneaking out. A Nexus already being grabbed from Snow, does not care about this at all. He is going to have a much later first observer out. Ooh, that great mine placement by Light. But somehow Snow able to snipe and find a little bit of position, and having a pylon drop just to hold that in between. The Marines up on the high ground, it looks like they've managed to get a decent amount of damage on that Reaver to push it back. 2 mines being planted. I don't know that Snow's going to make some additional attempts without that observer alongside to get forward troop positioning warning, and also know where it's safe to drop to deal with those mines. But clearing out those Vultures away from that third to try to establish that base. Reaver going to, getting a nice shot on that Vulture in no man's land. So going to be able to establish that third at the very least. And Light just going to sit back and macro. Does he already have his armory up? I don't see an armory anywhere as of yet. Upgrading siege tech right this second. Which I'm almost wondering, oh, there it is. I was about to say that surprises me quite a bit. Dropping that third command center immediately to try to keep that time between that third nexus coming online and his third nexus being built to a minimum. I assume we're just going to see a pile of siege tanks produced to help defend all of that territory in between. And it looks like Snow, rather than getting aggressive with that shuttle follow-up, looks like he is just going to wait for shuttle speed and hold that high ground and try to deny that territorial grab as long as possible. And that'll be kind of interesting. I think that shuttle speed will be finished after Light is in a position to go ahead and move out and push on that. He's dropping 2 additional factories now, and yeah, just a slew of siege tanks. Vultures camping that 9 o'clock location. Dragoon's going to go ahead and clear that out. Snow already staging up to maybe grab his 4th here. It is possible that he'll also... I would be shocked, actually, if he grabbed his 4th at the 12 o'clock location, expanding into his opponent. The safer, more stereotypical grab is here at that 9 o'clock location. The Vultures peeling out. They do not have any additional mines in their complement, so just going to hang out at the 6 o'clock location. A siege tank... I was going to say maybe that siege tank pushed that Reaver back, but the Reaver repositioning towards the front. So Snow recognizing the timing of the move out with that command center. Man, that was in the dark too. These pros, I tell you what, they're just insane. Just knew that was going to be the moment of the move out. Light pushing forward is within 10 supply, and this is where Snow can really, really shine. Just sitting on the absolute edge of range and peck away at siege tanks moving forward and turrets. And you can see Light not feeling comfortable dropping that command center yet. Still trying to establish, and Snow just sitting on the periphery of range here. Although backing up, he does have some additional Dragoons moving forward to potentially deny this high ground. Some Vultures sweeping out as well. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit. The Observer's trying to get as much forward vision as possible. Turret is up, so there's not really a dive. And now that gap has closed, so Speed Shuttle is out, and that will help a little bit as far as a repel move. Also, if Light moves too far forward and drops that command center, it is possible that there could be just a move out and a run by of those turrets, although the Reaver just took a massive shot right there for absolutely nothing. 9 o'clock base just about morphed in the meantime. Command center moving out. Yeah, so here we go. We got that double shuttle move out. So rather than trying to engage and deny here, we're going to end around and try to tax that forward territory. There's a lot of mines in between. The Zealots absorbing a lot of those mine hits. The shuttle, actually it looks like both shuttles got wiped out, but the Reaver does in fact land. And this is going to force all of the reinforcements to move back for light. Really frustrating. Let's see if we get some SCV kills, a few SCV kills here and there. But it looks like that Reaver just going to hold position. Ooh, got wiped out very, very rapidly. Now the Dragoon's going to try to press that opposite location. I think there must have been a shuttle sweep through to drop on top of this to once again deny that third and delay Light's economy. Picked out all the siege tanks, now just going to back out to that high ground. The command center still holding here and providing forward spotting. Let's see if the Dragoons actually start focus firing it. 2 siege tanks and a sweep of Dragoons to the south want to press in. Another grouping of Zealots joining the fray. And Dragoons also, so just finally landing it. Light feels confident enough that he's going to press into this, but the Zealot bomb's going to be there, forcing an unsiege briefly. It looks like the Dragoons, in this few in number, do not want to try to press up the cliff. They are even, as far as, just about even as far as the siege tank count. That plus the misfire would not spell a successful scenario for Snow, but that 4th base now getting saturated. Snow in a pretty good position. He's got that 10 supply lead, although Light has kept that gap pretty small. Zealot leg speed coming online, +1 weapons coming online. He doesn't have a massive economic lead, but he has an economic lead. Although Light has evened things up overall, has +1 weapons, is dangerously close in supply, which is just a testament to Light's macro ability, considering all the harassment that Snow has tossed. Snow starting to move out once again. I think he, at this stage, the best play would just be, yeah, start staging up for the refugee style, because Snow now has that 3rd base established. He can go ahead and drop those additional factories, wait for the +2, or just wait for the full upgrades effectively. We do have double armory sitting here in the background, and just work with that upgrade advantage. Snow dropping a Zealot off of that 3 o'clock location just in case Light wanted to grab a quick 4th or sneak something on those lines, and we do already have a probe here in that bottom left-hand corner. So now the play for Snow, and it looks like that 12 o'clock location also being denied by a couple vulture mines. Although that Zealot immediately going to be able to face plant, trying to drag, actually had a little bit of damage overall. I don't know if Snow's going to opt to build some additional, looks like he has built a Reaver, so maybe going to go for this, but I'm wondering if there's going to be any additional drops to try to slow that economy down. Looks like double Reaver in there. Some SCVs making their way out to the 3 o'clock location. The Zealot scrambling around them. And it looks like, yeah, Light actually going to, rather than just sitting on the 3 base, wants to establish that 3rd gas to make sure he has the higher, hopefully, Goliath and siege tank count down the line. Maybe get some science vessels out and keep those upgrades rolling. Massively sweeping through and just crushing this attack force. Snow had a secondary attack force making its way up, but not quite there. Might try to cut off reinforcements, and there's plenty of siege tanks still at the 3rd to defend, and his natural expansion could easily be reinforced. So Light very quickly able to cap that 3 o'clock location to match the economic output of Snow, grabbing that 5th base. Usually with, as Terran, just as far as standard play, you want to stay within one, you're ahead if you're even on bases, but you're usually, I think the statement is you're even if you've gone ahead and kept it within 1, just because of the, especially with upgrade advantages overall. And we do see that level 2 weapons, level 1 armor finishing now, and high ground advantage plus some nice supply depot. Might as well take this base. I think that might have been the thought from Light, is why not grab this base. Reavers trying to absorb some fire. They're working on that supply depot, so Snow gonna press into this, but the Zealots very quickly getting smothered by the vultures. The Reavers having to sit on the low ground, and this would be, even with the vultures and siege tanks that are here, might be a challenging scenario. So Light is going to go ahead and drop that command center down, and Snow's troops just going to have to sit in between. And it looks like we do have a raid of vultures making their way to the bottom left. 2 cannons are there, but this could create some havoc, especially with a lack of observers in mid position in between. I think I might have missed a couple Reavers maybe getting assassinated. It looks like the Vulture's going ahead and checking to see whether that base is established bottom left. Going to drop some mines and camp right there. And speaking of those mines, yeah, creating havoc. Snow is going to be able to see that probe transfer bottom left. So let's see if those Dragoons sweep across and do some damage. Some more Vultures looking to go ahead and We're thinking about trying to assault this probe line, but some nice defensive play from Snow overall. Loses some pylons, yes, but able to prevent, really mitigate any sort of probe losses in between. And just, yeah, all the vultures coming out now as Light is headed towards that 200 supply, maybe even freeing up supply to get more siege tanks or some other compositional units. Only 2 machine shops at this stage, is dropping a lot of additional factories. The vultures have been cleared, and it looks like there was another sweep wanting to catch some of these high Templar that are just now being fielded. And it looks like this is hyper-modern meta where it's going to be just shuttle play rather than any sort of Arbiter support, but that does mean that the upgrades are going to be a little bit more important, and currently it's only +1 weapons. Sometimes with that Arbiter, you don't really need the armor upgrade. Really, it's more for vultures rather than the siege tanks, but anyway. Some Goliaths now taking the field, maybe to help repel that. You also need just a lot more Goliaths. Light doing a great job of sniping these observers, making sure that Snow doesn't have any forward information. Because he is so light in the Goliath count, was really anticipating more of an Arbiter tech army. That does maybe open up the possibility of a lot of these drops, in particular the High Templar unloading and getting some solid side storms. High Templar getting, assassinated. 2 of them getting wiped out on the low ground, which is another reason these shuttles are so important for Protoss in the modern meta, just to be able to get your army around and not have them completely killed before they're able to do anything. Another High Templar picked off. Light just crushing the gas count, and even able to slide some vultures into the left-hand corner, but it looks like we have another sweeping attack at the 3 o'clock. 1 shuttle dying, but able to unload. The second one not. High Templar, however, able to drop some Side Storm, opting to drop it on the units rather than the SCVs there, so that attack quickly repelled. And right now, Light actually ahead in the overall worker count. Usually you'll see Protoss around 70 workers here instead, because of that vulture harassment and other phenomenal play. Light ahead in the overall workers, has a 3rd base, has 2 additional command centers that he's maybe waiting to drop in the bottom right. Sweeping through with some more vultures in between is just going to play, it's just going to out macro Snow through the long term. Some more mines here bottom left. I'm wondering if there's going to be, look, the photon cannon should clear that out. But Light continuing throwing out some of these vulture assaults. Doing a lot of damage. And really pinning Snow back. Snow maybe hoping to get a side storm of that SCV line, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it with the forces he's got. Repositioning, maybe wanting to make another assault at 3 o'clock. 2 command centers waiting to sweep bottom right, should there be any sort of advantage. Another command center being built on site for Light to immediately grab everything bottom right, should he be given the opportunity. So Snow has to be very, very careful with his armies, because if he ends up losing his army in a trade, Light could just reposition absolutely everything, grab a lot of territory, and then just start transfer a bunch of SCVs and just have sorry for the buzz in the background, and just have an overall assault. Usually what you'll see Protoss do is rebuild, have that economic lead, and just try to reset the Terran army over and over again and just out macro them from the long term. But it looks like Light is taking a note out of the Protoss book and looking to do that same thing the opposite direction potentially, should Snow try to throw his army at this. Speaking of which, Snow engaging bottom right, a huge siege tank line to the north, so not going to have a lot there. No High Templar support. The shuttle's a little bit out of position as well. So Light just throwing out some little vulture engagements, positioning really well, not really giving Snow a lot of surface area to hit. And already staging, he's already got the command center here bottom right, the 2 floating nearby that he can just land. And not a lot of, yeah, let's see if he's just ferrying troops back and forth looking for some sort of hole. And just this little, what I want to call like a raiding army, not going to cut it against this beefy army that already has level 3 weapons. A little bit of side storm drop there. The High Templar continually getting wiped out. Laid a bit down on supply right here, but is massively making up for it in the upgrade advantage, and the fact that Snow really doesn't, a lot of his armies back here, and just doesn't feel safe walking across them. In fact, he's got this army staged to cut off reinforcements just walking through. Light taking that mid-ground mineral only, and the high ground, eating a bit of side storm, gonna lose a few siege tanks. The science vessel's forward spotting going to push that army back, and you got the sweeping reinforcements. So now, with some siege tanks to the north, maybe if you can just keep vision in the mid area and holding the high ground here, you can quickly reinforce the bottom right. 2 zealots are here. They're quickly going to get swept out. However, this command center is lifted off, but you can see all the territory that Light is looking to hold very, very rapidly. He's playing it like a Protoss, and I think Snow, recognizing the scenario, trying to sweep where the units aren't, and hopes that this is across that third, pressing in, getting a lot of damage done. Some good Psy Storm on the siege tanks, but Light now pulling back, reinforcing, and going to be able to wipe out what's left. And you can see that supply lead now in Light's favor. And Light, if he wants to, I don't think he's going to, given the position here where you can just keep reinforcing siege tanks to this interior 3 o'clock location and just unsiege and reinforce to the north and just keep siege tanks up here and basically cut the map in half that way and just end up like this with the supply advantage. And just when you have that upgrade advantage so strong overall, and just leave Snow constantly tossing troops out into unfavorable trades to try to deal with Light taking so much territory. High Templar not, well, able to get a batch of Psy Storm over some clump siege tanks right there. So a few siege tanks getting wiped out, some additional siege tanks being dropped, but Snow backing off, yeah, feeling non-committal, because there's a second row of siege tanks woo to the south. Going to be able to cut this off, so Light is really making an absolute fortress of a defense to be able to cover and macro up. Those siege tanks actually a little bit of splash damage into the SCV line. And Light's economy is going to be really, really strong. Some minerals left over for Light there, but his mineral only is mined out. That 3 o'clock, or sorry, that 9 o'clock is looking a little bit light. He is mining here bottom left, but has yet to grab that interior third and might not feel comfortable doing so with the capability of the vultures raiding across that territory. And if he's out of position at all, sweeping in, it looks like he is going to try to grab that 12 o'clock. That's a very desperate grab there from Snow. Currently down 40 supply. Has caught up a little bit in the upgrade arena. He's got that level 2 weapons off the double forge, but it looks like he's paused upgrades there. Level 2 weapons, level 1 armor. And yeah, Light, I don't even know that he needs to dedicate forces to take out that Nexus at the 12 o'clock. Snow sweeping back around. Wants another shot at that mineral only. A lot of siege tanks going to go ahead and push those Dragoons back as the Zealots getting completely wiped out. Some shuttles in between look like they want to do for some... They want to dive in, do some Psy Storm sweeps. Potentially, but as the SCVs are starting to saturate here bottom left. The turret placement not enough. The Zealots dropped in between. High Templar blanketing some siege tanks. But a nice SCV dodge. Not really getting a lot done, and there's plenty of other turrets. And not a lot left. Yeah, I feel like Light's just defending this perfectly. Still up in supply. And now is in a situation where you can just starve Snow out. Snow looking for... just looking all over the place for any sort of soft spot in Light's defense. And thus far, just not finding it anywhere. Level 3 armor now complete. Down on workers. Ooh. He does have some refugee gateways here bottom left. But I don't know that he's going to be able to establish the 6 o'clock when Light gets around to it. And just, yeah, he's just had a lot of costly exchanges thus far. I don't know that they've been overall beneficial. 12 o'clock base is going to get saturated, although some probes having some trouble doing so initially. Snow sweeping back around, looks like he wants to make another attempt. Light comsatting and mirroring that army movement perfectly. You can just see the comsats dropping, just tagging that army, because the one thing that Snow might be able to do is in lack of some comsat space, find somewhere where Light's army isn't, but instead perfectly mirroring it, now hunting down those Zealots, and again getting some bonus kills. And actually pushing into that army now, which he can do because he's fully upgraded. And there's no High Templar with this army. This is just pure gateway units with no spellcaster support. Defense Matrix being dropped. Light looking to pick a fight. I wouldn't be shocked to see GG after this once these Dragoons are expended. Because honestly, even with this, Light doesn't need to push into Snow. But the reality is he can just sweep in and wipe everything out. And there's nothing Snow can really do to stop him. He just doesn't have the economic output to keep up. And this is just a massive army. Yeah, completely crushed that. 8 supply lead. Gonna sweep and start working on bottom left. Now pulling back, dealing with that high ground. I think he's a little bit worried by the High Templar. Yeah, sees that shuttle nearby and is just going to try to dodge out of that side storm as best he can. Snow chasing. Looks like he is able to pin a few of these siege tanks to the low ground, but able to retreat all the way to the siege tank line here at the 3 o'clock. High Templar moving in, getting it looks like only a single hit right there, getting some bunched up siege tanks in between, but that army that was chasing and trailing is now completely gone, has evaporated under the constant moving fire of that siege tank line. So Light going to once again sweep back out. Vulture checking out 3 zealots here at the 6 o'clock location. And again is going to do that remax style where he can just remax, push into his opponent, force him to expend and get unfavorable trades, and remax and move right back out again. Observer's trying to sweep out to again find a hole someplace. Snow able, yeah, trying to weave through, get what little bit he can. Nice mind vac, but that zealot gonna get wiped out. You can see that army positioning across the 3 o'clock, but again, we already have some vultures to the north engaging right there. It looks like he is going to be able to get a drop bottom right. Might get a few SCV kills out of this. Never mind, that is going to be a dud. Is going to re-engage across the 3 o'clock. The observer's right there to help deal with that line. Is trying to find that hole, but the siege tank's repositioning, actually ignoring it. Looks like that Reaver, never mind, some siege tanks and Goliaths making the way there. The Vulture sweeping in from the rear. Again, supply lead for Light overall. And all Light has to do is deny that 6 o'clock location, and in theory that should be a victory. Reaver now taken out, that shuttle now taken out bottom left, and Light, recognizing that he's got the 30 supply lead, gonna barrel forward, particularly without any High Templar in sight anywhere. Gonna barrel forward, and he can attack anywhere. 9 o'clock would be a little bit of a Pyrrhic victory just because there's nothing there. Is gonna establish, it looks like, the high ground positioning and just dive into the bottom left again. No High Templar grouped up with this. It's just Zealots and Dragoons versus pure mech with that 3-3 upgrade. Battle probe coming out. That's how desperate the situation is. Get him, probe. Go. Ah, didn't even get the shot off, but that drops Snow supply down by 60. Some Dragoons were looking for a flank, maybe with a High Templar. That got obliterated. And now everything bottom left is gonna just get swept off the map. That's GG. Snow calls it. Well played top to bottom from Light. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give a like and subscribe. Support StarCastTV. Thank you guys for listening.